In today's video, I'm going to be doing a comprehensive review of the All-in-One Granny Square Red Heart yarn. So, for those of you who do not know, this right here is the Red Heart All-in-One Granny Square yarns. Now, the whole thing about them is that one scheme will make 14 granny squares that automatically change colors, so you don't have to weave in ends or anything. Now, I have made a review on this previously. It wasn't like a big review, it was more of like a minor review. It was just like packed into one of my other videos. So I wanted to do a full one now that I've been working with it a little bit longer. So in the previous video, I made 4 granny squares. I currently have them stitch marked together, but they look like this. Here's 4 of them, and I had some problems. Problems being with the texture of the yarn. It was causing me like problems on my hand. Like the texture of it just wasn't jiving with me, so I didn't like that. It recommends a 5.5 hook, and it recommends that you put two chains in between each of the corners, and then also 1 chain in between each of the clusters. Now, and also you chain your foundation up chain is 3. So that's usually how I do mine, except for I don't do 3 chains, I usually do 2 chains. So that was the only thing I did differently, but I also used a 5mm hook, a 5mm. So I did change up a bit, and this did work for me. I was showing the wrong side. The only problem is that I was like struggling with like getting it correct, and it was difficult. I was like having to take it apart and then put it back together and take it apart, and it was just kind of annoying. And so that's why I only did 4, because I was like, you know what, I'm kind of tired of this yarn, and I really don't feel like getting the rest out of it. Well, I watched a few months ago, I watched Passionate Kelsey's review on this, or at least like her using. I don't know if it was a review necessarily, but what she does with granny squares is she only does 1 chain in the corners, and then she doesn't put a chain in between on like a normal side. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try that, because my difficulty was that I was having to take it apart and tighten my tension because my tension was too loose. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give that a try, and I did, and y'all, it's so much easier. I have made 5 granny squares in the past like 2 days doing this. And so you do a granny square, regular granny square, except for you only chain 1 for the corners. So like in this bar right here, that's only 1, and then you don't chain any in between. And that, with a 5mm crochet hook, allowed me to have my usual tension and get the granny square near perfect. So nice. So that is what I would recommend doing if you are somebody who has been struggling with it. Just give that a try. So there we go. So that's how I've been doing it. Now, let me give you all a little talk about some of the other like problems I've noticed. So I've noticed that with the center yarn color, the very dark color down right there, I have to do like a really long tail for it, or I'll have too much. I don't know why. I guess they just put extra, but because I mean, it doesn't really matter if you put extra on the first one, but it bothers me because I feel like it's a waste of yarn, you know? Because like this is like, look at that. That's the tail I did here, and then my ending tail is here. See how long I have to make those? Just so it can properly like work up. So there's my problem with that. The feel, the more I work with it, you know, I said I had a problem with the tension, or with the texture. The more I work with it, the less I have a problem with it. I don't know if I've just gotten used to it, or if the skein has gotten less annoying. Like, I think maybe it's not as bad as it was when I first bought it. I really like the colors. I don't have a problem with that. I think they're very cute. Like, here's the one I've been working up, but I also have this one, which makes up ones that look like that, and then I also have this one, which looks like that. So for that, I think they're really great, and they have a wide variety. I don't even know how many there are, but there are a lot of colors. So I think colors, great, that's perfect. With the dye, I have a problem because I've noticed, and I know they can't always make this perfect, you know, because it's, what can you do? You can't monitor every single skein that comes through and make sure it's perfect. But I have noticed that the, with like the lighter colors, there's a lot of seeping of the previous colors. So there'll just be like random spots of that, or, you know, other colors. And while I don't necessarily have a problem with it, I know some people will, and it's also kind of, like, it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. You know, I'm not really sure if there's more I have to say on it that I either haven't already said, but yeah, I would recommend this yarn. It's for its price, it's pretty good right now. I've noticed it's on sale at Joann's, I think. And then it was also on sale at Walmart. That's where I bought mine, was at Walmart. Mine were marked to $4. I think they had messed up in the system. It was supposed to be $4 off, but I got it for $4. But it's been changed back since. So, yeah. Let me just work it up with y'all. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this yarn, and I think it's great if you are willing to work and fight with it until you figure out your perfect way to do it. Because for a while there, I was annoyed at it, and I really didn't want to do any granny squares because I was having to fight with it every single row, and I was like, this is tiresome. But I found it to where I only have to fight with it a little, but I usually can work it out before I get to the end. And you kind of start learning how to gauge how much you have left just by looking at it, so that's nice. One problem I have specifically with this yarn, because I haven't used any of the other ones yet, specifically with this yarn, is that these two colors between these two rows, row 3 and row 4, are way too close, and when I'm not working in perfect lighting, they kind of look the same. Or when I'm working in this like kind of yellow lighting I have right now, it is kind of hard to tell which from which, and so sometimes I'll get confused and think that I don't have enough for something when I do, because they just look so similar that I can never tell if I'm at the end of it. Like, can y'all see that the color has changed there? It's right through here. Another thing is that the color changes aren't always like, they don't automatically go from like one color to the next. There is a little bit of gradient period, which isn't on all of them. Some of them do have pretty clean changes, but I've noticed when I'm working up this one specifically, a lot of times there will be a sort of gradient between these two, and I've learned how to make it to where it's not as noticeable. So what you want to do, let me finish this up a bit more so I can show y'all. Well, that doesn't, tension was too tight. Sometimes it happens. But basically what you want to do is whenever you are about to slip stitch, so let's just say I'm about to slip stitch into this one, even though, you know, I'm not supposed to, but if I want to slip stitch into it, what I want to have on my loop right before I slip stitch is you want half of it to be the color you're working with and the back half to be the color that you're about to pull out. Because when you do that, what happens is it camouflages the other side, and it makes it a lot easier. Let me try to find one where I've done that. So like this one, yeah, so right here, that loop right there is my slip stitch loop right here, the one I just pulled on. That's my slip stitch loop. Well, on the front is purple like the second row, but when I flip it over, that slip stitch is red, or at least it's sort of red because this one had some bleeding at the end, but it's red. So that's how you want to do it, because then the next thing you pull up is the red color or whatever the next color is. So that's how I've learned to like perfectly and almost seamlessly change the colors. But I still have problems with some of them where it isn't a matter of me, it's just a matter of the color taking too long to change. Here's another example. So the front slip stitch is purple, and then the back slip stitch, the back of the slip stitch is red. See, and it allows for a much more seamless color change, even though again with this one there just seems to be a lot of bleeding of the colors, or at least a lot of like where the colors aren't perfectly changed. And again, I know there's going to be imperfections. It's a manufactured product. There's not somebody looking at every single skein to make sure it's perfect. So I can understand that. That is my full review on the Red Heart All-in-One Granny Square yarn. If y'all have anything specific that you want to see me make with these, please let me know. I'll probably make stuff to sell, so be on the lookout for that. I'll have my link. It's either in the description and in my bio. I have a shop, if that, sorry, I have a Mercari shop with my sister and we sell stuff. If y'all enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I would love you if you would do that, please. And yeah, thank you for watching. Again, if you have any recommendations for what I should make. Oh, one more thing actually. So if you're making these, I would suggest that on the very last row to tighten your tension up more than what you would usually do, because I would recommend having some white left on the tail when you do it, so you don't have to, if you don't want to, you don't have to crochet over it. I will have to crochet at least a single crochet around it in order to hide the tail. So if you are not wanting to do that, or if you're somebody who prefers like going in and weaving the ends in, then I would recommend tightening your tension up for the final row and having this tail be partially white. But yeah, besides that, that's it. I would recommend this yarn. Thank y'all for watching. So I thought I was done, but I just want to let y'all know that I have finished the skein now, and this is what I have left. Let me count up how many granny squares it made. As I've stated, the ball on the thing promises you 14 granny squares. Well, I ended up getting 15 out of mine. This is 15 right here. So that's great. I assume it's just because there's just going to be a little bit of variation. So, and then this is what I have left, which would be enough to do 2 rows of the next one, but I'm going to use it for something else. But yeah, this is what they look like. My tail started getting like dramatically long, but that's fine. But I'm gonna make a purse for my sister-in-law with them. So I'll show y'all what that looks like at the end, just so y'all can see a final project worked up in it. And I'm gonna go around each granny square with solid white so I can hide some of those tails. I have finished the purse. And what I did is I ended up taking apart 2 of the granny squares because I did not need them. And I used them to do this part of the straps. And the straps are just a granny stitch followed by double crochets on the end. And here's what it looks like. This is going to my sister-in-law, so. But yeah, overall, after working through it, I would highly recommend it. And you can make an entire tote bag out of one skein. So this thing cost me $4. Crochet math. Yeah. Thank y'all for watching. And again, I would highly recommend this yarn. It has such beautiful colors. And it's not too bad to work with. So once you get used to it.